Dear students, you are welcome in this class. And of course, it is Sunday today, 27th March 2022. But there is no time, there is no day for learning. We learn every day, every time. So today we are going to discuss law of diminishing return in crop production. But before that, let us see some uh, learning objective of this class are explain the meaning and concept of law of variable proportion or diminishing return. We will see it in part 2 and describe the 3 stages, assumptions, exceptions, and importance of law of diminishing return. So before we actually start, I would ask you, is there any difference between law of diminishing return and law of variable proportions? Many times people call it law of variable proportion, and many times it is also called as law of diminishing return. Are they same or are they different? First question to you. Anybody can come forward. If you don't know, you can say no, we don't know. No problem. That means you don't know. Okay, we move again. We move forward. Now, in economics, you may come across two things. One is short run and other is long run. What do we mean by short run and long run? Anybody? Not known to you. If anybody knows, can come forward. Long run. In economics, say na, in long run, we can make changes in our technology. In short run, we can also make changes in our certain technology, certain things. So in economics, usually this long run and short run has different meaning for different people and different meaning for different enterprises also. So we'll see what is short run and long run, and then what is fixed cost and variable cost. What is the difference in fixed cost and variable cost? Yeah. Nimisha, are you there? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
fixed cost means one-time cost, that is building infrastructure or land. These are fixed costs, and variable costs are changing time to time, and it's season to season vary.
Very
Sure.
good. Yeah, you have fair idea of fixed cost and variable cost. Now see some terminology, agribusiness. Agriculture operated by business. When we consider it as a business, when we follow the rules, guidelines, and things related to business in agriculture, it becomes your agribusiness. And it involves all activities in the business of agricultural production. Agricultural productivity, a measure of the economic productivity. Remember, it is economic productivity, means with respect to economic part that you harvest from the plants. So a measure of the economic productivity which have some money value of a given quantity of agricultural land, maybe land productivity typically expressed as the ratio of agricultural output to agricultural input, maybe in any form that makes your agricultural productivity. Direct cost variable and fixed, means both are there. In direct cost, you include variable cost as well as fixed cost that are readily allocated to an enterprise. Economics in general, what is economics? The study of the means by which humans produce, distribute, and consume goods, means production of goods, distribution of goods, and consumption of goods. So all are included in economics. Then enterprise. What is an enterprise? An identifiable sector of the farm or horticultural business for which output includes valuation of unsold stocks produced by the enterprise. This is with respect to agricultural enterprise. Farm management, making and implementing of the decisions involved in organizing and operating. Organizing and operating means management. a farm for maximum production and profit. So here, the main goal of the farm management is to achieve maximum production and maximum profit. Fixed costs, just Subrata told, costs which either cannot readily be allocated to a specific enterprise or do not vary with small changes in the scale of the individual enterprise. Whether you increase the scale, means by allocating certain variable cost or variable inputs, you cannot change the fixed cost. Inputs. Inputs are actually resources used in the production process. For example, feed, materials, labor, machinery, uh, measured in physical or financial terms. Means you have land, labor, capital management. These all are inputs, or you can call them resources. Actually, resources is broader term. So land, labor, and capital, you can call them resources or factors of production. These are the resources or factors. For example, you have land as a resource, you have labor, capital, and management. So every resource is divided into several sub-resources, several sub-units. Like land, land can have forest, it can have soil, it can have minerals, it can have light, it can have water, and so on. Similarly, labor. Labor is your manual work where some laborers are employed. Capital. Capital is your actually in money form. Capital is your building. Capital is your implement. So there can be two kind of capital. One can be consumable, that is immediately consumed. For example, if you buy a seed, if you buy fertilizer, if you buy any other chemical, any other input, that is your consumable, your capital, consumable capital. And some items are durable. Some capital items are durable. For example, your machinery, tractor, buildings, roads, etc. These are your durable kind of capital items. And capital items do not give directly satisfaction to the consumer. They are indirectly used. They give consumer satisfaction indirectly because they are not the product. Product is something else for which we need capital. Capital is required to produce the products. So products will directly give satisfaction to the consumer, but these capital items will not give direct satisfaction to the consumer. So therefore, inputs are several resources which are from land, labor, capital, and management. Now, produce. Produce, what is produce? A variety of farm produce food crops, including fruits and vegetables, and sometimes also grains and other products. So at farm, produce means raw materials that are produced there, that are obtained there by using some inputs. In economics, you will come through production functions. Production functions are a quantitative perception of the relationship between the input and output. So production functions are actually equations relating input to the output. What combinations of input, what quantity of input will result in what quantity of output. So kind of relationship between one input to output, many input to output, like this. So these kind of functions or equations are your production functions. A quantitative perception of the relationship between the inputs and outputs. Inputs are various factors of production like land, labor, capital, and enterprise, whereas the outputs are the goods and services. So output can be with respect to goods, which is your produce, and services. Total factor productivity. Today we will discuss the difference in total factor productivity and partial factor productivity. So partial factor productivity relates to productivity of only one input, and total factor productivity relates to the productivity of all the inputs. That is the difference between partial factor productivity and total factor productivity. Partial factor productivity relates to the productivity of individual factor, one factor only, and total factor productivity includes productivity of all the inputs used in production. So it is a measure of agricultural productivity that takes into account all of the land, labor, capital, and material resources utilized in farm production and compares them with the total amount of crop and livestock output. Means total output divided by total input is your total factor productivity. Variable cost. Costs that are readily allocated to an enterprise and which will vary in approximately direct proportion to the scale of the enterprise, like fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, etc. We will learn in detail more about variable cost. Let us see some resources. So resources used for production of a product are called as factors of production. Also called inputs, use of the services of land, labor, capital, and management or organization in production. That is your input. Output is commodity produced by the input. Now, what is land? These are resources in production. So it is not just land forms. It is not just hills, flat land, mountains, or some other forms of the land. It is not just associated with the crust, earth's crust, but it includes resources like minerals, forest, even groundwater is your land. What is given by nature? So it may include some renewable resources in land, like forest. If you cut them, they can regenerate, they are renewable. Non-renewable resources are like minerals or your fossil fuels, etc. These are non-renewable resources, but they are natural resources. They are included in land. If we see definition of land in economics, an example of a key land input in farming activities is productive topsoil. That is your soil. Now, labor, you understand all labor services used in production with the exception of managerial activities. All other labor services are part of labor. In crop production, labor activities include seed bed preparation, planting, irrigation, chemical application, and harvesting. So variety of operations are performed by labor. Even machines cannot work alone. They also require labor. Now see capital. What is capital? So different meanings in different contexts. For example, in production, manufactured goods like your fuel, chemicals, tractors, trucks, buildings, all are capital that provide productive services to the users. Capital goods do not provide consumer satisfaction directly. There may be two kinds of capital goods or inputs. Non-durable capital inputs such as fuel and chemicals entirely used for during the current production. That is your capital. So without capital, no production can be taken up. No production is possible without capital. Actually, for capital, you need money to buy capital items. Durable capital inputs such as machinery and buildings are utilized over a period of years. So these are example of capital, your consumable or non-consumable or durable kind of capital inputs. Management is in the hand of the operator of farm, who is operating the farm, managing the farm, taking the decision, and also taking the risk. So it is decision making and functions as varied and are easier to conceptualize than a measure. So farmers take most of the decision, like how, when, and what to produce. These are decisions. How best to organize input, what would be the best combination of the inputs, when and how to market the output, what should be the level of production, how to arrange finance, how to expand the production. So this all points are covered under management. So hope you understand meaning of land, labor, capital management. Now, what is production? I have already discussed production in another lecture, in the first lecture rather, when we were discussing principles of crop production. So if you remember, transformation of inputs into output. That is the simplest meaning of production. Farm buys inputs like productive resources and outputs are what it sells. They buy inputs or resources and then produce something which is sold in the market. It is not the creation of matter, but actually creation of value. You create value. From seed, you produce more seed, you produce farm. If you produce your tomatoes and you make ketchup, so that is value addition, value addition. Of course, production of ketchup is there, production of tomato is there. Producing goods which satisfy some human want. This is another meaning of production. And typical definition of production is technical processes requiring the mental, physical skill of craftsmen and consists of changing the shape, size, and property of materials and converting them into usable items. That is your production. Now, production function. For example, this law of diminishing return. Law of diminishing return, or you see law of physiological proportions, or Michelin equation. These all are production functions which are showing the relationship between input and output. Functional relationship between quantities of input and output is your production function. It shows how and to what extent output changes with variations in inputs during a specified period of time. So you can express the functional relationship between input and output in the form of a table, in graph, in equations, showing the amount of output obtained from various combination of input used in production. The simplest thing to understand production function is law of diminishing return. In that, you must have seen that at x-axis, you have labor, for example, any variable, any input. At y-axis, you have, suppose, production, product. So you must have seen the relationship. Initially, it increases very, very fast, total production, that it increases slowly, and then it starts falling. So that is a kind of relationship between input and output. And that relationship is your production function. That is also a production function. Now, algebraically, it may be expressed as the simplest meaning of production function is Q is equal to F is function multiplied by LMNKT. Q is output, F is functional relationship. Here functional means multiplication. L is labor, M is management or organization, N is your natural resources, K is your capital, and T is your given technology. So that makes your a kind of production function. Now, I was discussing in the beginning what is difference between short run and long run. So functional relationship between the change in output due to change in input is studied in two phases, whether in short run and long run. All these production functions, the relationship between input and output is studied in short run and long run. Sometimes a firm, an enterprise, or a farmer needs to make quick changes in shorter time. And some changes are required to be made in longer time, in long run. So what is the difference between short run and long run in economics? Short run is a period in which output can be changed by changing only variable factors. In short run, you can make changes only in variable factors. In the short run, fixed inputs like plant here means industry, plant, machinery, building, etc. cannot be changed. Means in short run, you can change only variable cost. You cannot change the fixed cost. You can think in that way also. Because these factors, they also involve the cost, variable factors. Similarly, fixed inputs also involve the cost. So you can define them with respect to cost also. So here they are defined, short run is defined with respect to factors. And production can be raised. If you want to raise the production in a shorter period, that is possible only by increasing the variable cost or variable factors, but till the extent of capacity of fixed factor. What quantity of variable factors can be borne, B-O-R-N-E, borne by the fixed factor. It is not that fixed factor can borne so many variable factor. If a tractor is run by one driver, You cannot put 20 drivers on the tractor. Tractor is a fixed resource and your labor is variable resource. So there needs to be some ideal combination of variable factors and fixed factors. Now, what is long run? Long run in economics, a period that is long enough for the firm to adjust all its inputs according to the change in the condition. Suppose today there is huge demand of certain product in production. So can farmer produce that? It is not possible. He need to increase the land also. Besides increasing the quantity of variable factors, he need to increase the size of the land also. So that period is your long run. In the long run, firm can change its factory size, switch to new techniques of production, purchase new machinery, etc. So in long run, you can make changes in both variable factors as well as fixed factors. That is the difference between long run and short run. So we stop here and go to the. So you can see in the long run, firm can change its factory size, its fixed resources or fixed cost can be increased, as well as variable cost can be increased or variable factors can be increased. Now, the distinction between short run and long run does not refer to a calendar period. It is not fixed. The time is not fixed and not based on a fixed time span. It depends on production conditions and varies from firm to firm or industry to industry. For certain industry, 10 years may be a short run period. For example, for steel industry, 10 years may be short run, while period of 1 year may be a long run period for a wheat producer, for a farmer. So it varies. It is not a fixed, but the main difference is that when you can make changes both in fixed cost or fixed factor and variable factors together, then it is long run. And when you make changes only in variable factor, it is for short run. Now see to have more clarity, see the difference in short run and long run. Meaning, period in which output can be changed by changing only variable factors. In long run, somebody's microphone is on. Please off it. In long run, यार इसको माइक्रोफोन को ऑफ कर लो भाई. You please switch off your microphone. In long run, output can be changed by changing all the factors of production. Classification: factors classified as variable and fixed factors. In this case, in short run, and only variable factors are used. All factors are variable in the long run. Means even fixed factors become variable factors in long run. Price determination. In short run, demand is more active in price determination, as supply cannot be increased immediately with the increase in demand. In long run, both demand and supply play equal role in price determination, as both can be increased. That is the difference. Now, what is the difference in variable factor and fixed factors? Variable factors can be changed in short run, just now we have seen. For example, raw material, casual labor, power, fuel, etc. So they can be changed in short run. Fixed factors, these cannot be changed in short run. For example, plant and machinery. Here plant means industrial plant, and machinery, building, land, etc. You underline this point. The quantity of fixed factors remains same in the short run, irrespective of the level of output. Whether you produce, suppose you have 1 hectare land, whether you produce 5 tons per hectare or 3 tons per hectare, the rental value of the land will remain same. The quantity of fixed factor remains same in the short run, irrespective of level of output. They do not change. Whether the level of output rises, falls, or becomes zero. So your fixed factors, the cost of the fixed factor will always be there. See the difference in fixed factor and variable factor, meaning factors that can be changed in short run are variable factors. Factors that cannot be changed in short run are fixed factors. Relation with output, they vary directly with the output, these variable factors. Generally, more output, more variable factors. And fixed factor, they do not vary directly with the output. For example, raw material, casual labor, power, fuel. They are variable factors, and fixed factors are building, plant and machinery, permanent staff is also considered as fixed factor. Now, the last part of this lecture is productivity measures. How to measure the productivity? How to measure the productivity of the produce? So productivity is an average measure of the efficiency of production, means output by input. It can be expressed as a ratio of output to input used in production process. So there are several parameters to measure the productivity. So, but first of all, let us see what is a product or an output. It refers to the volume of goods produced by a firm or any industry. The volume of goods produced by firm or any industry during a specified period of time. Different products and productivity measures are, you must have come across total product, average product, marginal product, elasticity of production, and partial and total factor productivity. So these are the measures by which we can measure the productivity of farm output. Total product, how much is the total production? Total quantity of goods produced by a farm during given period of time with given number of inputs. For example, 10 laborers produce 60 kg of rice, then total product is 60 kg. In the short run, a firm can expand total production by increasing only the variable factors. However, in long run, total product can be increased by increasing both fixed and variable factors. So I am repeating one or two things repeatedly so that you have clear-cut understanding of the subject. There should not be any doubt about it. So total product is also known as total physical product. This is not in monetary term. This is in physical terms. The quantity or total return, again in quantitative term, and total output. This is not in money terms. Now, average product, output per unit of variable input. Output per unit of variable input obtained when total output is divided by total input. That is your average product. Average product is equal to total product TP divided by unit of variable factor. Y upon X. That is your average product. For example, 6 kg rice is produced by 10 laborers. So, 60 kg rice is produced by 10 laborers. Labor is a variable input. Then average productivity of the labor, which is an input, is 60 by 10, 6 kg per labor. That is your average product. TP in terms of AP will be total product is equal to, if you know the AP, you can work out TP. So AP into units of variable factor. Average product is also known as average physical product or average return. Now, properties of average product. What are the properties, characteristics of average product? When the production function is linear, I will teach you sometimes. When the production function is linear, the AP of the input is constant. It is the same change, means marginal product is same. By using every additional unit, you get the same output, same increase in output. That is your linear relationship. The average product decreases continuously if the production function represents diminishing return. When the production function shows increasing return throughout, the AP increases continuously. For a production function which includes both increasing and decreasing returns, the AP will first increase, then reach a maximum, and then start decreasing. So you can find variety of relationship between input and output, and under different relationship, how average product behaves. So this was told to you now. Marginal product. The marginal product is the rate of change in total output as related to change in input. This is the simplest definition of marginal product. MP is the rate of change in total output as related to change in input. So change in total output divided by change in input. Delta y upon delta x refers to addition to total product. How much is added when one more unit of variable factor is added? That is the simplest. So you can see MPN, marginal product of nth labor. This is n, maybe labor, any variable cost, is equal to TPN minus TPN minus 1. TPN is the nth unit and TPN minus 1 is n minus 1. Suppose from 3 to 4, you have increased labor from 3 to 4. So this 4 is n and 3 is n minus 1. That is n minus 1. So MPN is marginal product of nth unit of variable factor. TPN is total product of n units of variable factor, and TPN minus 1 is total product of n minus 1 units of variable factor. N is number of units of variable factor. It's a very simple thing. If you are not able to understand here, you will understand it subsequently. See here, for example, if 10 laborers make 60 kg of rice and 11 laborers make 67 kilogram of rice, the MP of the 11th labor will be, marginal product of 11th labor will be TP11 minus TP10. So MP11 is equal to 67 minus 60 is equal to 7 kg. Marginal product is also known as marginal physical product or marginal return, MR. Means additional. Marginal here means additional return by employing one additional unit. Now, there is one more way to represent this MP. MP is change in TP when one more unit of variable factor is employed. When change in variable factor is greater than 1 unit, then MP can be calculated as MP is equal to change in total product divided by change in units of variable factor. That is delta TP divided by delta N. Suppose 2 laborers produce 60 units and 5 laborers produce 90 units, then MP will be MP is equal to TP of 5 laborers minus TP of 2 laborers. So this is the difference in marginal product divided by difference in labors. 5 laborers minus 2 laborers. Then MP is equal to 90 minus 60 divided by 5 minus 2. So 30 by 3 is equal to 10 units. So this is the marginal product. Otherwise, TP is summation of all MPs, marginal products. Total product can also be calculated as of marginal product. If you know the marginal products of different units, you can calculate the total product also. So total product is equal to summation of all MPs. As long as MP is delta y upon delta x is increasing, TP increasing at an increasing rate. Please underline this point. And this happens in stage 1 of law of diminishing return. As long as MP is increasing, TP increasing at an increasing rate. TP continues to increase when MP decreases but is more than 0. TP reaches a maximum as the MP becomes 0 and decreases as the MP becomes negative. Your TP decreases when your MP becomes negative. Now you see this example, input, output, then marginal product or marginal output in the third column, and fourth column you have average product. These calculations are important for you. You should try to learn. If you know the input and output, output here is your total product. Output is your total product. Third column is your MP and fourth column is AP. So X is your input 0 to 5 and output is 0, 103 to 281. And then MP, how to calculate the MP? So when there is no input, there is no output and there is no marginal product. So here MP is also 0. In place of dash, you can see MP is 0. So now you come to column number 2. So if you want to calculate the marginal product, so 0 unit and 1 unit. From 0, you have increased the value of X to 1, from 0 to 1. So difference of 1 unit, and then difference of 103 minus 0 will give you marginal product of unit 1. So it is directly 103. 103 is the MP. Unit 2 of input X, 174. So 174 minus output of unit 1 minus 103, it gives you 71. Similarly, 223 is the output of unit 3 and output of unit 2 was 174. So 223 minus 174 will give you 49. And likewise, you can calculate for unit 4, 5. Now you know how to calculate the MP. And average product column number 2 is divided by column number 1. 103 divided by 1, you get 103. The last column, 174 divided by 2, you get 87, last column, and so on. So you can work out the average product also. Now see the next case, elasticity of production. What is EP? Elasticity of production is also a productivity measure. The elasticity of production refers to the percentage change in output compared to the percentage change in input. Means if you make a certain change in the input, how much is the change in output? If you change the labor by 10%, how much change is there in the output in percentage? That is your elasticity of production. The EP refers to the percentage change in output as compared to the percentage change in input. A production with an elasticity of 1, EP is equal to 1, throughout indicates constant returns. If your EP value is 1, then you have constant returns. That means 1% increase in input is always accompanied by 1% increase in output. That is your elasticity production, 1. 1% by 1%, you get 1. Now, elasticity of production, a production function with an elasticity of more than 1 throughout indicates increasing returns. That means 1% increase in input is always accompanied by 1% increase in, more than 1% increase in output. Remember, it is more than 1% increase in output. Then a production function with an elasticity of less than 1 throughout indicates decreasing returns. That is 1% increase in input is always accompanied by less than 1% increase in output. So here producer will be on loss. Now, partial factor productivity. Productivity measure that uses one or more inputs factor, but not all factors are called partial factor productivity. You have several factors like irrigation, fertilizer, manures, your pesticides, your so many inputs are there, seed. So you can calculate the productivity of individual factor. Then it is partial factor productivity. If you calculate productivity of all the factors together, then that is total factor productivity. Suppose you apply fertilizer. Even in fertilizer also, if you apply just nitrogen, so you can calculate the partial factor productivity of nitrogen. Say you have used 0, 40, 80, 120, 160 kilogram nitrogen per hectare. So you can calculate productivity of this nitrogen, which will be called as partial factor productivity. Even you can calculate partial factor productivity of NPK together by combining them. So that is fertilizer. But you cannot calculate productivity of fertilizer and herbicide together because they have different units. So therefore, in such cases, we calculate productivity of individual input, which is known as your partial factor productivity. In economics, labor productivity, output per hour, at company level, partial factor productivity measures are worker hours, materials, or energy per unit of production. Or you can say how to define partial factor productivity, the average productivity of a single factor measured by grain output divided by the quantity of the factor applied. Just I gave you example of nitrogen. What is the yield at 30 kg? What is the yield at 60 kg? Divide that yield by the quantity of nitrogen. Partial factor productivity can be measured for any factor of production, such as fertilizer, labor, water, pesticide, machinery, etc., with the units of measurement depending on the factor. Because their units of measurement are different, therefore we cannot calculate partial factor productivity, total factor productivity for them. For example, if you use tractor, so productivity of tractor will be in different unit. land plowed per hour, or similarly herbicide, similarly pesticides, or similarly seed is used kg per hectare. So, and also their monetary values are different. So we cannot calculate partial factor productivity of all the factors. So you can see here, this is your relationship between grain yield and nitrogen. On x-axis, you have nitrogen 50, 100, so on. Y-axis, you have yield. So this is the relationship between input and output. Input is fertilizer, and it is showing a partial factor productivity. Similarly, you can see kilogram grain per kg nitrogen. On x-axis, you have nitrogen rate. Y-axis, you have kg grain produced by 100 kg nitrogen, 150 kg nitrogen. So you can see this is partial factor productivity. Agronomic efficiency also a kind of partial factor productivity. Now, total factor productivity. When all outputs and inputs are included in the productivity measure, it is called total productivity. When all inputs are included together. Outputs and inputs are defined in total productivity measures as their economic values. So we can convert the economic value. Suppose you want to work out total factor productivity of all the inputs. So you convert their values into money term. How much money you spent in 1 hectare area on herbicide, on plowing of the field, on your seed, on your different units. So you convert those values into monetary term, and you also know the value of the output. The monetary value of the output divided by monetary value of the input. That will give you a total factor productivity, means all factor productivity. When all outputs and inputs are included in the productivity measure, it is called total productivity. Outputs and inputs are defined in the total productivity measure as their economic value in terms of money. TFP, total factor productivity, is calculated as a weighted average of the monetary value of various outputs divided by weighted average of the monetary value of all inputs, including labor, capital, fertilizer. So in one line, you can understand that total output means how much money you get. That is your gross return or total return. You can calculate, you know how much wheat you have produced from 1 hectare. So you can sell it in the market, and whatever money you get, that is your total return in terms of money. And you also know cost of cultivation of 1 hectare. So that gross return is divided by cost of cultivation. So you get total factor productivity. That is your total factor productivity. Very easy to work out. And in agronomy, we do it. Now, some exercise for you. If you have, just let me check. Now you can have your pen, paper in your hands.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, total factor productivity then can be called a benefit cost ratio, BC ratio.
Yeah, it is. It is. No benefit. It is not benefit. Cost, it is not benefit cost ratio. It is gross return to.
Yes, sir. Gross return to
cost.
Expenditure.
Yeah, expenditure. We cannot call it BC ratio. For calculating BC ratio, you need to deduct the cost of cultivation from gross return. Gross return minus cost of cultivation divided by cost of cultivation. Then that is your benefit cost ratio.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, in case of total factor productivity, fixed costs are included or not?
Both. All costs are included. Means your cost of the all input, your output divided by input, cost of all output, price of all output divided by cost of all input. It includes fixed factor also. You are in MSc?
Yes, sir.
When you work out your agronomy, you are in agronomy, Subrata?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If you are in agronomy, then you will be doing your thesis next year or sometimes. And then in agronomy, it is compulsory to work out the cost of cultivation and these kind of ratios. gross return, and you will definitely learn it, and you will be using this knowledge there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is your numerical for all the students. You can take your pen, paper, or diary. See, there are 4 different rows. In the first row, you have variable factor. Variable factor may be any, your seed, fertilizer, or pesticide, or whatever you have. Labor, 0 unit, 1 unit, 2 unit, and 5 unit. You get total product 0, 8, 20, 28, 28. So first I am giving you lesson how to calculate average product and marginal product. Sometimes you get some questions in your quiz exam to calculate the average product and marginal product. So calculation is very simple. You can see here, average product, it is very easy. Row number 2 can be divided by row number 1. Total product divided by variable factor is your average product. So 8 divided by 1, you get 8. 20 divided by 2, you get 10. And then 28 divided by 3, you get 9.33, and so on. Then marginal product, just I told you a few minutes back, you can calculate it from the previous unit. So you can see 8 is the total product. So 8 minus 0. 0 is your total product of the previous unit. So empty, you get 8. 20 minus 8, you get 12 for the unit 2. 28 minus 20, you get 8. Is this clear to everyone or not?
Yes, sir,
Harinder,
clear.
Harinder, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Harinder, you remember after class, I will not end this meeting and we will talk because you have joined late. So we want to help you, and all of your friends are with you. Don't worry. And Hema, I would request Harendra and Sonali to stay after the class so that we can talk for 5 minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, so now I will announce when we stop the class. So now you can see example 2. This is for you to do it. Now you do it, you solve it. Till you solve it, I want to drink a glass of water. Did you do it? Whenever you finish it, please tell me.
Done, sir.
Good. Let the others also finish.
Done, sir.
Good. So it was very simple. I just wanted you to practice. I know you can do it. Everybody can do it. So now you see You can check your answers. Row number 3, average product is your 20, 25, 30, 30. I think everybody worked out. And MP is, you can see 20, 30, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0, minus 10, minus 20. Are your answers correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So everybody can do it. MP, AP, I think you are already, you have already done it sometimes back in BSc, etc. That is good. So similarly, this is another case, and I will share this presentation to all of you. And this is your homework. You can do it in your home. This is, and those who are serious will do it. Variable factor, MP, and TP and AP. So you can do this example yourself. So you will find answers like this. Then your same kind of question, AP and variable factor are given. You need to calculate TP and MP. Will you do it or not? Kar lena practice, bhai.
Yes, sir.
These answers are also given. Now things become a bit complicated. Such kind of questions sometimes come in your exams, in your IES exam, PCS exam, or something like that. So have a try on this example. Use your brains and solve it. You have 3-4 minutes time. Whenever you finish, you tell me. So variable factor from 0 to 7, and there are many blank spaces, and you need to fill up these blank spaces.
सर ये अभी करना है या होमवर्क सर?
Hey, abhi, now I am testing your brains.
Okay, sir.
I'm testing you. This is your test, dear. All should do it.
Sure, done, sir.
So this is actually not so simple, but it involves a little bit thinking from your side. So you can start from 25. You are seeing 25 in TP. So because here you can make at least one value of AP. So 25 divided by 4, whatever you get, you can put against the AP. And then you got AP and many MPs are available. So you can work out TP and AP. So I think I can do it, but here it is difficult to explain. But if you give me paper, pen, I will do it. So same way, you understood it. So you can check answers. These are the answers. So you can check the answers. So what I suggest you practice, if you don't know, talk to me later. So you can see, check this. So see another example.
Yes, sir. मिल गया, sir.
मिल गया. So
Yes, sir.
now others should see the same kind of problem I am giving to you. This is homework. Actually, we used to have a practical class in this lecture. It was 3 plus 1. Now I don't know why people have reduced it to 3 plus 0. There is no practical in this class. So I used to give these kind of practical exercises to students, but I don't want that you should miss these kind of exercises. I will be giving you. It does not matter whether practical is there in your course or not, but wherever I feel that I should teach you some practicals, I will teach you here and there. So you can complete this table same way and use your brains. So answers are also given for your convenience. So this can end this lecture here. Now, I think we are early.